rough introduction to the object builder. So you're familiar with opening, closing VPP Admin Tools. So we'll go straight to Object Builder. Object Builder is for server admins to create extra stuff in the environment. Creating some stuff here already for testing purposes, and we'll get into that in a moment. The basic intro will be that, well, the basic concept is that whatever you can find in the left-hand side of your screen is what you can place in the environment. Now, some things look good, some things look bad. Just a case of finding the right things. Knowledge. Actually finding what these are and using this a lot will eventually get you to a point where you can build various structures like traders and interesting places easier. Until then, it will be a bit of a struggle to find what you need. You can also have mods that will increase the building capabilities, give you a lot more scope in what you make or create, whatever. So as you can see, there is a very large amount of items available to you. This, the builder, BLDR stuff, SV is a mod that introduces some building structures that you can use. I'm not going to tell you what they are. It's just a mod, as far as I know. There are other mods out there that introduce a lot of extras for building, and as you see, it's hundreds. But we'll start off at the beginning. The easiest thing is to start at the top. The most common thing is a container, because you can climb on top of it, and you can do a lot of things with containers. We'll start with containers being the easiest thing to work with. So we'll bring up the object. On the left-hand side are all the objects you can put in the place into the environment. On the right is the list of items within the building set that you've created. So each group of items will be called a building set. So we'll open up Object Builder again. We'll create a new building set that have a building set. So we're just going to call this my first building set. Building set. Set activates to spawn. So when the server starts, these buildings appear and will spawn into the environment. If you don't have that, they'll be there, but it won't be available to use to the players because they have to be loaded at server start. So that checkbox always on. So choose OK, and we have a new building set called My First Buildings. So we're going to check the box. Once it's checked, anything that appears or you place into the environment will appear there. So we'll start with container, and we'll just get a container. In the old, before the 29th of October, you could double click on this object and the object will appear in your screen. Now that has changed. Instead of double clicking on the object in the left hand column, you select it once, you double click in the screen. So select, double click in the screen. You will now get a tiny little interaction box, very similar to how there are boxes in Dayz editor. You have a similar interface here. So once it's selected, obviously it turns blue, and holding the anchor or the little blue box, you can move the object around. Hold shift whilst holding your left mouse button down will allow you to rotate it. If it's not selected, you can't move it. Select it, hold down your shift, hold down your left mouse button, rotate. Okay, next one. Hold down your left button, hold down left alt, and you can now raise and lower it in orientation. So you can rotate it, raise its height. Don't forget to deselect it. Over on the right here, you've got a little checkbox. Remove that will remove the ability to accidentally move the object. You can still copy the object, but you can't move it now. That's the little squares missing, so there's no way you can accidentally move it. On the top, we have some we have some checkboxes. This enables preview on the left-hand side, so you can see what you're selecting on the left. Snap to terrain allows it to snap or orientate itself, click and attach itself to the ground. That's when you're putting the first thing down. If you wish to put stuff on surfaces, such as a can of beans on a tabletop, you need to snap on surfaces. So, spacebar will allow you to move your character, and spacebar again to lock your character on your camera, and your mouse is now available for moving around the screen. So I'm going to pop in a table here. Spacebar object builder. We want a table. And just need to find a table that's suitable. This one will do. So left click, double click in the screen. Click once to select it. Now you can move it. Alt raises it up and down, and Shift rotates it. As you can see, when you're releasing the button, the Shift or the Alt, you can accidentally move the object. So the recommendation is release your left mouse button, then release the left Shift or left Alt. So what we're going to do, first of all, we need to snap to terrain. Make sure it's snapped. Over on the right here, you see double arrows. If you click that once, you will see this. You can't see everything written here, but basically it enables physics on the table so it can move of its own accord according to the physics server. A bit like gravity. So I'm just going to click yes. And okay, there we go. It's now locked. It's now orientated itself to that it's sitting on. So if we go up, see, now at the same angle as the ground, and it's nearly touching. Probably hovering about an inch above the ground, or thereabouts. But for most people, that will be fine. You can mess about, and I'll show you how. Go to Object Builder. So we've still got the item selected, the building set, the object, and we've got a little box. Click once on the box. You can actually double click on the box. We'll bring up the attributes for that object. Excuse me. And in here, you can actually manually change the uh, X, Y, Z, and other properties just by scrolling your mouse in the box. So you can raise, lower, etc. That's a roll. You have to be careful when you're doing this because you'll end up doing too much. A finer control is just by doing manual adjustments to the object. If you mouse off the attribute screen, you move your mouse too far off, it will switch itself off. So you have to come back in and edit it again. This button just says active on spawn, on restart, etc. So it's nothing to worry much about that button. This one will delete this object from the list, and the list title is my first building set. We don't want to do that. We're just going to save edits. Screen will flicker slightly, and it'll stay there. In the past, you had to check this box a second time. This one here, and you used to have to choose OK. There's a small glitch at the moment where if you choose OK, everything will vanish that that's in your building set. However, it's not gone. It's just invisible. So all we have to do is select my first building again, save edits, and everything will pop back in. Select your building set, and you'll see it's still there. Nothing's moved really. It's just a little glitch in the system at the moment that makes it invisible. The only thing you need to do when you're creating a building set is to check that you've got the right set selected and just save edits. You don't need to do anything else anymore, just purely save edits. The ability to snap to surfaces allows for the quick construction now of a scenario. For instance, this is a trade that sells food, so we need to have some cans. So we select the object, snap on surfaces, mouse on the surface, double click. Oh, I forgot to select my set building set. There we go. Forgot about that. So everything, lock these so we don't accidentally move them. Select the object on the left, double click on the tabletop, and it's there. And we can quickly create a simple scenario of trader. And we can unselect all these and we can see roughly a simple solution. Now, if you look closely, you'll see that some of these objects are floating. That's not a problem. That's not the fault of VPP or the object builder. It is the textures themselves. When they were first built or made, textures, they maybe didn't give it a flat surface. There are like little bounding boxes surrounding these. So imagine a box, and this object is at the center of the box. Some items are touching the bottom of the box. Some items, like the can of bacon there, is actually floating in the middle of the box. That's for another day. So we've got our tables. sorted out. On the right hand side, you can see all the names of the objects. But you can actually, if we want to, come here, double click. As long as we don't move out of this box, we can actually just move it. So 211.5 puts it there. Another 5 brings it up. So you can mess about. If you want it perfectly sitting on the surface, you can do that, and see it's now sitting on the surface. It's just a case of time and effort. Spacebar, come back. Unselect it. Can't be moved by accident. Can't be duplicated. But remember, a double click anywhere will produce whatever's selected on the left. Whilst it's there, you can delete it, and from this list, you delete it. We need trader to stand here behind to work with. So, how are we going to do that? We can spawn in a temporary trader. Most NPCs that people will use cannot be spawned in using VPP. So you have to spawn in an object that will take its place temporarily. Lockers are a good substitute. And we'll select the locker and we'll just double click here. And you can see it's floating in the air. It's snapped to surface. So it's snapped to something that's there. So come back to Object Builder. We'll just delete this for a moment. Snap to terrain. I've got snap terrain and snap surface. Remove snap surface. That might be conflict there. And we're going to. We've still got the locker selected. We'll double click, and it's floating in the sky again. Okay, we'll hold down. We'll click once below. Hold down left mouse, and we can move it. Hold down left Alt, and we can move it up and down until it's roughly where we want. Release left mouse. Now release left Alt. Now it's facing the right way, which is what we want. And using this, we can get some data which we'll need to use outside of the game. Paste in so that we can get our NPC in position. This takes a little time, so don't fret. Just little movements. To get it close enough. So we need to. That's 8.1. That's too much. So we need to go down 1.5. That's close enough. We'll save that, and then we're going to save our edits. Save the edits. You don't need to do anything else. However, once you've done your building set, we need to replace this locker with an NPC. So what we'll do now is we'll take a position, copy to clipboard position option. Go back to your keybinds and you'll find it in the VPP when this little here's VPP. We copy position to clipboard. It doesn't just copy the coordinates, it copies the orientation. And for this, we'll need the orientation as well to make sure that the trader is facing the player. Now, don't worry about it clipping into the surface there. When you replace this locker with an NPC, he, because of his own box, he will snap back. You'll notice I've this bit up in the air, but we can sort that out later. Or we can sort that out. We can press home, object builder, select the set we're working on, find the locker, and now we need to change the height. So if we go down to 210, add 0.5, add another 5. Okay, so instead we'll hold down left mouse on this, Alt, and we'll just move the mouse up and down till it sits where we want. Again, don't worry if it's sitting inside. The NPC will automatically move back because it's clipping and be standing right. But if you are worried, you can come here into the finer tune and change the numbers. That was 8.5, that's the Z, that's the wrong one. We file that way, 79.5, that'll do nicely. Move your mouse off the thing, save the edits, and remember, you copied the location to your clipboard. With that copied to the clipboard, what we can do, we can open up Notepad and we can paste the information into Notepad and we can get the orientation, which just so happens to be 0, the pitch and the yaw. That's the pitch is leaning forward, leaning back, yaw is left and right. Tilt left, tilt right. So the first number is the orientation, is the direction it's facing, which is 0, 0, which everything is on this screen, 0, 0. And you can take these numbers and put them into the file for adding the NPC into the game. And I'm not going to go into that because there are plenty of other videos out there for how to add the NPCs into a build using Dayz Builder. Dayz Editor, not Dayz Builder. It's not what we're here for. We're here to work with VPP, and it's getting dark, so we need to change time, and we want a 9 a.m. We'll just do that, and we're back to 9 a.m. So we've done the object builder basically, and we've got our building sets. As long as nobody selects and then deletes these are effectively locked. If it vanishes, don't panic. They are gone, only in as much as they're invisible, mostly. All you have to do, go back into your editor, turn it off by accident. Go back into your editor, object builder, select it, and save edits. It'll uncheck itself, and everything will come back to where it's supposed to be. So far, so good. There are. Let's see, what else do we need? That's it, really. Simple as it gets. You've got rotation here by degrees of rotation. You can change that to whatever degrees rotation. Just do 90-degree steps. You finish with a set, and you want to get rid of it. You'll notice that the others have disappeared. So what we can do. This is a bit of a glitch at the moment, I'm afraid. It's being worked on. But all we have to do, just go through each one, save each one, and it should bring it all back. Once it's saved, it just brings it back into focus, as it were. If you have the problem with the invisible, just come in here, select, and then save, and you'll be fine. Don't click anything else. Don't try and don't need to restart the server at this stage. If the set is invisible. But once you're finished with them, see, I've selected that and it's just there. You can actually delete the set or the item, the grouping. There is an old problem a lot of people experienced, that when they were building, they would accidentally move something in the wrong direction. So we'll set up here. Come to Object Builder. I'll explain. We'll put another locker in. We'll have this. So remember now, you don't double click here, you double click where you want it in the screen. Now, that is supposed to be snap to terrain. Didn't quite. So hold down Alt, hold down left on that, drag it down. There we go. In the past, what a lot of people used to do, accidentally put it in the wrong place. But with the new box that's been introduced, you can actually find that object and bring it back quite easily, because no matter where it is, the little square will appear. So don't panic if you've lost your object. Just press your space bar, look around, go, oh, there it is, and then bring it back where you want. That's just literally left click, hold left click, and you can move it around. So if you put it too far away, you can bring it back. Of course, you'd have to press Alt whilst you're still holding it to get it back to the ground. Remember, release left mouse, then release your Alt or your Shift key afterwards. Whilst it's still selected in the menu system, you can delete it. So there we go. I think that winds it up really for the moment. It's a very rough guide. I hope you enjoy yourselves. Making stuff, you can do it offline, online. You're an admin in your service.